Welcome to our deep dive today into the Planetary Citizens Movement.
A fascinating group.
Yeah, our listeners are really interested in understanding, like the historical journey
Hmm.
of this organization and how it's kind of evolved to address some of these global issues that we're facing today.
Right.
So we'll be kind of drawing insights from the Planetary Citizens story that's found on their website.
Okay, great.
It's almost like uncovering this intriguing lineage.
Yeah,
Tracing their roots all the way back to the 1970s
I like that.
and understanding the profound impact their work has had, on the world today.
Yeah. And they've been around for a while, so there's a lot to uncover.
Yeah, for sure. And what's so interesting is when you think about who better to lead us on this journey
Hmm.
than the founders themselves,
Right.
right? The website, highlights Donald Keyes as like the main driving force,
Yeah,
but he wasn't alone, right?
he wasn't.
You had Norman Cousins,
Hmm.
Aurelio Pache, and Gordon Feller. And, they were all instrumental in shaping the movement's initial direction.
Really interesting group of people.
Yeah, and what strikes me is like the diversity of their backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a peace activist,
Uh-huh.
an economist,
Yeah.
and an advocate for sustainable cities.
I mean, that's what's so interesting is how they all came together
Yeah.
under this banner.
Like what brought these seemingly disparate individuals together
Right.
under this Planetary Citizens banner.
Well, I think their shared belief in the interconnectedness of humanity and the planet was a common thread.
Okay.
They all understood that these global challenges require global solutions.
Right.
We need to transcend traditional boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable how these early pioneers
Hmm.
foresaw the need for this collective shift in consciousness.
And that's a concept that's gaining so much traction now.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see how that's evolved over time.
Yeah, absolutely. But how did their individual contributions actually shape the organization's initial focus?
Well, Norman Cousins, the peace activist, likely influenced their emphasis on global harmony.
Okay.
His work was instrumental in promoting peace and understanding,
Right.
especially during times of intense global conflict.
Right, like during the Cold War and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, and so what about Aurelio Pache?
So he was an Italian industrialist and economist,
Okay.
and he brought in this deep concern for the planet's future,
Mm-hmm.
advocating for sustainable development and responsible resource management.
So kind of like a blend of industry and the planet coming together.
Exactly, like finding that balance.
Gotcha.
And then you have Gordon Feller.
Yeah, he seems like a really key figure, especially when we're talking about sustainability.
Well, absolutely. He was a visionary in sustainable urban development.
Okay.
Recognizing the role that cities play in our global ecosystem,
Mm.
his advocacy for sustainable practices back in the 70s
Mm.
is incredibly relevant today,
I was just thinking that.
as our cities face increasing pressure from population growth.
Yeah, and resource consumption.
Exactly.
It's amazing how these early efforts really laid the groundwork for what Planetary Citizens is doing today.
Yeah, it's like they set the stage.
Yeah, but what exactly were their methods for promoting global unity and sustainability back then?
Right.
It seems like a pretty daunting task.
Well, they really focused on education,
Okay,
advocacy, and collaboration.
gotcha.
They really believed in empowering individuals with knowledge,
Yeah.
inspiring them to become active participants in shaping a better future.
So bottom up
Exactly.
rather than top down.
They knew that lasting change wouldn't come from top-down directives.
Yeah.
It had to come from a groundswell of individual action,
Yeah.
driven by awareness and understanding.
So they were kind of fostering this sense of responsibility,
Mhm.
helping people see themselves as part of a global community.
Exactly.
It's amazing how those fundamental principles continue to guide the organization's work today.
It really speaks to the timelessness of their vision.
Yeah.
The world has changed dramatically since the 1970s.
Oh, for sure.
But the core issues they addressed,
Right.
environmental degradation, social injustice,
Mm-hmm.
the threat of nuclear war, are even more pressing today.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought.
It is.
But it also highlights the continued relevance of their work.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what specific events or developments in the world might have influenced their approach to these challenges.
Right.
Like what was happening in the 70s
Yeah.
that may have sparked this urgent call for change.
Well,
What were the rungs of the ladder, as you put it, that led to the formation of Planetary Citizens?
the 70s was a period of profound social and environmental upheaval.
Okay.
The Vietnam War was raging, The Cold War loomed large,
Yeah.
and the environmental movement was gaining momentum.
Right.
People were beginning to question established systems,
It
yearning for a more just and sustainable world.
was like a time of awakening,
Yeah.
a realization that our actions have far-reaching consequences.
Absolutely.
And it seems that Planetary Citizens emerged from that crucible, offering a path towards a more harmonious future.
Yeah.
But we've only just scratched the surface of their story.
Right, we have.
There's so much more to discover about their journey and the impact they've had on the world. So
I'm excited to dive in.
stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dives, where we'll explore how planetary citizens evolved to meet the challenges of the 21st century.
Welcome back to our deep dive into planetary citizens.
You know, as we kind of transition from their origins to their present-day impact, one thing that really strikes me is like their continued dedication
Yeah.
to the founding mission,
Mm-hmm.
even as the world has changed so much.
So depressive.
Yeah, and that's what I find so compelling about them.
Yeah.
It's like they tapped into this like timeless truth back in the 70s
Right,
that continues to resonate today.
right,
But how have they actually like adapted to the challenges
right.
of the 21st century? I mean, the world is a vastly different place.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've expanded their focus
Okay.
while staying true to those core values.
Mm.
Their mission now encompasses a broader range of issues,
Okay.
from fostering regenerative cultures and true democratic communities
Okay.
to tackling environmental and societal challenges head-on.
Okay, so I'm curious about this idea of regenerative cultures.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very hopeful,
It does.
but also a bit abstract.
Yeah.
How do they define this concept? Like, how does it connect to their overall mission?
It's about recognizing that sustainability isn't just about maintaining the status quo.
Okay.
It's about creating systems that restore and regenerate the planet's resources, working in harmony with nature's inherent cycles.
Okay.
It's a shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance,
Gotcha.
recognizing that we have the potential to create a world where both humanity and the planet thrive.
So it's about moving beyond just preserving what we have
Yes,
and actively working to create a more flourishing future.
exactly.
That's a pretty powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
But how do they actually like translate this vision into tangible action?
Well, one of the ways they do this is by fostering collaboration.
Oh.
They understand that no single organization can solve these complex challenges alone.
Right.
So they act as a catalyst,
Oh.
connecting diverse groups and individuals
Yeah.
working towards similar goals.
Like those organizations we mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
Like the Global Regeneration Collab.
Yeah.
The Global Eco-Village Network and Planet Home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Planetary Citizens is helping to amplify the impact of these initiatives,
Okay.
creating a more unified and collaborative movement for positive change.
So they're kind of like building this network of change makers,
Exactly.
connecting the dots
Ah.
and facilitating synergistic solutions.
Yeah, it's a really powerful approach.
Yeah. It's fascinating how they've embraced this like collaborative approach.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a natural evolution of their founding principle of global unity.
Right.
But what about the individual?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a planetary citizen in this context?
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness with all life on Earth, understanding that our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves. It's about taking responsibility for our impact on the world
Okay.
and making choices that align with our values.
So it's kind of like a call to action.
Yes.
A reminder that we're not just passive observers in this unfolding story,
Mm-hmm.
but active participants with the power to shape the future.
Precisely. And they emphasize that this power starts with inner transformation.
Okay.
They believe that creating a sustainable world requires us to cultivate inner peace,
Okay.
compassion,
Yeah.
and a deep understanding of our interconnectedness.
So it's not just about changing systems, but also about changing ourselves.
Exactly. They understand that our inner world shapes our outer world.
Oh, wow.
Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs influence our actions,
Yeah.
which in turn shape the world around us.
I'm starting to see how this idea of living half inside and half outside
Yes.
fits into their vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing that our inner state is not separate from the external world.
It's a powerful reminder that the transformation we seek in the world starts with the transformation we cultivate within ourselves.
It's a beautiful concept,
It is.
but it also seems like a daunting task.
It can be.
How do they suggest we navigate the inevitable challenges and setbacks that arise
Right.
when trying to create personal and societal change, especially when faced with the enormity of global issues like climate change and social injustice.
They offer a refreshing perspective on that.
Okay.
They see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and learning.
Okay.
They encourage us to embrace a growth mindset, recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success,
Okay.
but rather a necessary part of the learning process.
So it's about seeing setbacks as feedback.
Yeah.
A chance to learn, adapt, and keep moving forward.
Exactly. And they emphasize the importance of resilience,
Okay.
adaptability, and a willingness to experiment and try new things.
I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off having to have all the answers right away.
It is.
It's okay to make mistakes, to adjust our course, and to keep learning along the way.
Absolutely.
But how do we stay motivated and engaged in this work,
Right.
especially when faced with the scale and complexity of global challenges?
They encourage us to find joy in the journey,
Okay.
connect with like-minded individuals, and celebrate small victories along the way.
Yeah.
They remind us that creating a better world is not a solitary endeavor. It's a collective effort that requires collaboration, support, and a shared sense of purpose.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to stay connected to the bigger picture while also appreciating the small steps we take each day to make a difference.
Precisely. And they emphasize the importance of leading by example,
Okay.
inspiring others through our actions, and demonstrating the possibility of living in a more just and sustainable way.
It's about walking the talk,
Exactly.
not just talking the talk, right?
They believe that authentic action is the most powerful form of communication. It's about embodying the values we espouse and inspiring others to do the same.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating inner transformation, making conscious choices in our daily lives, connecting with like-minded individuals, and working collaboratively to create a better world.
It's a holistic approach to change,
Yeah.
recognizing that personal and societal transformation are inextricably linked.
This has been such a fascinating exploration.
It has.
I feel like I have a much deeper understanding of Planetary Citizens,
Yeah.
their history, their mission, and their vision for the future.
It's a really inspiring story.
But there's still so much to uncover.
There is.
And that's what makes this movement so compelling.
There is.
It's a constantly evolving story with new chapters being written every day. So we'll have to continue this deep dive in our next segment. Stay tuned for part 3 of our exploration of Planetary Citizens, where we'll delve into specific examples of their work, explore their unique approach to problem solving, and discover how you can get involved in this global movement for change. Welcome back to our deep dive into Planetary Citizens.
It's been a great journey so far.
Yeah, we've traced their evolution, from that visionary group in the 70s
Right.
to this global movement advocating for a regenerative future.
It's amazing how they've stayed true to their core values.
Yeah, but how do they actually translate these big ideas into tangible change?
Right.
What are some of their concrete actions?
Their approach is multifaceted.
Okay.
They recognize that creating a better world requires addressing issues on multiple levels, from individual consciousness to global systems.
So it's not just about promoting individual sustainability.
Right.
It's about creating a systemic shift.
Exactly. They understand that real change requires transforming the underlying structures that shape our world. That's why they advocate for a crowdsourced planetary management system, a decentralized and participatory approach to decision-making that prioritizes the well-being of both people and the planet.
That's a pretty bold vision.
It is.
But how do they envision such a system working in practice?
Right.
It seems like a radical departure from our current power structures.
It's about shifting from a top-down model of governance to a more collaborative and distributed system.
Gotcha.
Imagine a world where decisions are made through a global network of interconnected communities, each contributing their unique knowledge and expertise to solve collective challenges.
So it's about empowering communities to take ownership of their future.
Exactly.
Rather than relying on centralized authorities.
Right, and they believe that technology can play a crucial role in facilitating this kind of decentralized governance.
Okay.
They're exploring how emerging technologies like blockchain and artificial intelligence can be used to create more transparent, equitable, and participatory systems.
It sounds like they're kind of weaving together a tapestry of solutions.
Yeah.
drawing from diverse fields to create a more holistic and integrated approach to change.
I like that analogy.
Thanks.
But what about the practical aspects of daily life?
Yeah.
How do they help individuals live more sustainably?
Right.
Their website is a treasure trove of resources on sustainable living.
Okay.
They offer practical tips on reducing your carbon footprint, guidance on ethical consumption, and inspiring stories of individuals making a difference in their communities.
So they're providing like real-world examples.
Exactly. They also have a network of partners and collaborators working on the ground to promote sustainable practices in various sectors.
Like what kind of sectors?
From agriculture and energy to education and urban planning.
It's really heartening to see how they bridge that gap between big picture thinking and practical action. They're not just advocating for change.
Right.
They're providing the tools and resources to make it happen.
Exactly. And they emphasize that everyone has a role to play. No action is too small, and every contribution matters.
I love that.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired and want to get involved,
what would you suggest as a starting point?
Start by exploring their website.
Okay.
It's a great way to learn more about their work, connect with their community, and discover opportunities to get involved.
Okay.
They also encourage people to support their global fund, which provides financial resources for a variety of initiatives aimed at creating a more sustainable and just world.
And beyond financial contributions, what are some other ways people can contribute?
Share their message with your networks. Volunteer your time and skills to organizations working on issues you care about.
Okay.
Or simply make conscious choices in your daily life that align with their values.
Right.
Remember, every act of kindness, compassion, and sustainability ripples outward, creating a positive impact on the world.
It's such a powerful reminder that we all have the power to make a difference.
We do.
This deep dive into Planetary Citizens has been truly illuminating.
Yeah.
They've offered such a compelling vision of a regenerative future and a roadmap for how we can get there together.
I completely agree.
We encourage all of you to delve deeper into their work, discover how their vision resonates with you, and find your own unique way to contribute to this global movement for positive change.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this deep dive.
Likewise, and remember, even small actions multiplied across a global community have the power to create a world that works for everyone.
That's a great message to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep making a difference.